Hey yo, it's your boy Los. Let's get it.
See, a song like this is so vintage, so authentic, and there's no gimmick. And by the First Amendment, I'm free to speak. About an ancient king from the Middle East. He's the lion, the lamb, the I am from Zion. They crucified him, they're so defiant. And the first of the 10 commandments been abandoned. Look at man, and there is no reliance. There is slow compliance and no compliance. I know they hate it. I get it, I get it. I get it, I get it. But who resurrected? He did it, he did it. He laid his life down and took it up. 2,000 years plus, now look at us. Christianity spread, gang of bloodshed for us, go and look it up. And I ain't trying to be a tough guy, and I ain't trying to be a martyr either. And I ain't got the kill me complex, I just want to be just like Jesus. When it's my time to go, I want to die with grace. I want to die with faith, knowing that I'm about to see his face. Want to be filled with the Spirit and no longer fear. I'm living for you, Lord, as long as I'm here.
You can take my life. You can take my life. You can take my life. You can take my life.
All right, so as you can see this afternoon, beautiful afternoon, 64 degrees, loving this. Let's get it. About AC degrees. Not time for AC just yet, because they're going to fool me, they always do. But anyways, we're talking today about Flame's latest album. I've been messing this up for the longest. I'm so sorry. Extra Nos? I want to say Extra Nos, you know, like the drink that I just finished drinking. But Extra Nos, whatever. It's his latest album, and a very controversial album, to be honest with you. And I think what makes it more so controversial is not necessarily what his... I think I'm gonna say the content in of itself isn't quote unquote a problem with people. I think most people are taking it the way he came at it, the way he's addressing these issues is very aggressively. I think that's what made people kind of like, whoa, what's up with your man? But my guy Zion out there in Savannah, he checked me really quick, and I appreciate him for that. Shout out to the homie man for that. If you think about it, throughout all Flame's lyrical history, he's always been very aggressive about what he believes and where his stance is. You go back to, he makes mention on the album about pluck out his hand, professional plucker, one of the titles. He's very aggressive about doctrine of election and how we are sealed by Christ through the blood. And that once we are sealed, wrapped in his hands, no one can pull us from that. He changes that stance on this album here, but my point is, he's very aggressive. He was very aggressive about that. You go back to his Flame album, the song Give Us the Truth, which I'm going to allude to in a little bit, but he was very aggressive on that about the relationship between him and his old church home, and how he was, depressed and so on and so forth. Just my point is that Flame is a very aggressive kind of individual when it comes to something he's very passionate about. And so we shouldn't be surprised or taken back or bothered that he's aggressive about where he's at now at this point in his life. And so it is what it is. But I think, like I said, I think that's probably why most people are taken back and feeling some kind of way about this album, because of his stance and how he came across. But like I said, that's been him. I think it hits harder now because, for many of us, because he is stepping on toes and seeming to come at something that many of us agree with, and now he does no longer agree with this. So that's probably personal. But before we get started, man, I think it's important that we do this, man, with the vets. You gotta salute Flame, man. He is just what, his 10th album? Goodness gracious. He's 10 albums in, man. And although, and I've said it before, I said it again, I'm not going to go back on what I've said. I'm more of a cross movement kind of Flame. I think since when he got the Clear Sight, I haven't rocked with his albums since then. Be straight with you. They've been okay. A couple of bangers on them here and there, but for the most part, I've been very disappointed in his albums. But nevertheless, though, Flame is still a beast with it. He's still a feature kind of king, man. When you put Flame on a song, you pretty much gonna get that real. Even now, you know what I'm saying. So you got to take your hat off to Flame, man. He's dope MC, man. The Lord's been very gracious with him. But with that being said, and he always came with I think one thing I have to admit about him as well is that Flame doesn't read something, for instance, on Monday and then write a song about it that following Wednesday. You know what I'm saying? I think if Flame is rapping about it, I would like to believe that he's taking the necessary time to research it. You know, so he's taking the time to figure it out, to make sure that what he's about to spit is legit, is authentic. You know what I'm saying? He's not like a lot of these cats who would just jump on something real quick and then run with it. No, you know what I'm saying? He was a Calvinist for 18-something years, he says, and then he fell back in the cut, dealing with, you know, the legal thing and some other stuff. But in the midst of that, his thought process shifted. I think probably like another couple more years before he came forth with this here now. So I'm confident in saying that what he is talking about in his album, he wholeheartedly believes, and not just like a move by the wind of things or whatever it's called. But dealing sonically with this album, I think this is probably his best, not his best, but one of his best albums I've heard come from him. I felt like, honestly, he was very comfortable on this album. I felt like when I heard him spit, I felt as if he was in a very relaxed kind of place and was able just to sit back in the studio and just spit. And I was encouraged by that. I was really excited by that. The song 2KR, yeah, I think it's 2KR. I heard the way he spit on that song there. I've never heard Flame spit like that. Like he was just in a I don't want to be disrespectful, but in a y'all can hate what I'm about to say if you want to, I could care less kind of way. He just like, I'm just gonna give it to you, and he gave it to us raw lyrically. I was just very impressed with his style, very impressed with his demeanor. I would love to see him in the studio, probably just you know, just feeling it, going with it. It was really dope, man. And some other parts of the albums, there's only like 7 songs, but really only 5. And some other verses where I just felt like he just was just free, you know what I'm saying? Just free and able just to spit how he felt needed to spit. Production was actually a little bit better on this album than a lot as of late. And I say it because since being with Clearsight, his production was always, to me, like concert-ready production, which I didn't like, man. It bothered me, real talk. Like, production was always like he went in the studio because he got a concert the next day, so he made an album just for the concert, not necessarily for you to sit back and reflect on. All the beats to me was over the top and real, you know, get it, you know what I'm saying? But I'm kind of used to him just being more educational, more, I don't know. But anyways, from the Cross Movement, it was kind of like dope beats, don't get me wrong, dope production, but more so, hear what I gotta say, right? Then he got with Clearsight, or he started Clearsight, and it was more concert ready. Everybody get up, get pumped, let's get it. And to now on this album here was more back to the Cross Movement instance where it was simple. Beats still dope, production was still banging to my viewpoint, but it was more simple, more I got something to say, and I want you to hear that over here with this how dope this beat is. So I enjoyed the production. I really enjoyed the way he maneuvered through it and so on and so forth, and I was just really encouraged by that. I think Sonic, like I said, the album is mad dope. I disagree with a few things. In all honesty, like I said, I've said before on other pages and other outlets, I'm very new to the whole Lutheran way of thinking. I'm not ashamed to say that. It just wasn't ever in my circle. I'm not a Calvinist. I always say this. just walk with me real quick. I'm not a Calvinist per se. I'm a Christian that agrees with John Calvin's way of interpreting scripture. However, I follow Christ, not John Calvin. I've always said that. Shout out to my guys, MC Goya and my man Luke Walker. I think I messed that up. It's whatever. Is it Walker? It is today. But nah, that's my man. You know, they made comments before like, oh, you are our Calvinist. Yeah, I'm not saying I'm not a Calvinist. I'm just saying I follow Christ, not John Calvin. Just want to make that clear. But on this album here, I guess the reason why I am about that. So yeah, on this album here, like I said, I follow Christ, not John Calvin. And so with that being said, right, anyone who's ever knows me, right, has never heard me say what John Calvin said, right? You've never heard me utter those words, right? I've never made my stance or my argument or anything that I've ever came across to anybody with was what John Calvin said, right? I've always said what scripture says, and I flow from that, right? I always preface everything I'm about to give you on what the Bible has already said. Now, I may, in the midst of the conversation, right, I may allude to something that Calvin may have said, or something that, Edwards or somebody else may have said, Pink, somebody may have said. But for the most part, I'm always going to give you what Scripture says, right? And on this album, right, Flame makes a reference about, he kind of comes in the Calvinist little circle about how we make idols out of things, right? But it's funny because I laugh at that, and I made a little post about this on Facebook, and also Instagram as well, but about how he clowns the Calvinists about making idols of things, yet he does a whole complete album where he makes an idol of Martin Luther. You know what I'm saying? Where it's like one of those scratch your head moments, like, my man, like, what are you doing? You clowning us for doing what you're doing. Kind of like 50 Cent and Ja Rule. You know what I'm saying? 50 came in bashing Ja Rule for making songs like he made them, and then turn around his very next album and do those exact same songs, that same style. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you're doing the same thing, bro. And so that bothered me, that I heard more on this album what Martin Luther's stance on things as opposed to what Scripture actually says. And I think that's where we should be at. I don't think we should, don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with referencing a man, right? There's nothing wrong with referencing what someone may have said in a subject, right? I'm cool with that. But I think when it all boils down, especially something like this here, especially when you've gone from the extremes of the prosperity gospel, name it, claim it, till Calvinism, to now Lutheranism, right? I think, and on the other two, here's the crazy part, right? So, when he was with the prosperity gospel before signing with Cross Movement, when he came over to the Calvinist side, he gave Scripture as to why he's making that move, and why Calvinism or Reformed theology was more legit and more God honoring as opposed to charismatics, right? But now that he went from Calvinism to Lutheran, he didn't give us that. This album has no Scripture basis connected to it. There was no scriptures that says, this is why I'm here, because the text says this. 90% of this album was based off of what Lutheran was saying. And I'm not saying that he doesn't have Scripture in his mind to back up his now new claim, but I'm saying he's not giving us that. So let's say, I don't think I am, but let's say, for instance, if I was wavering on my thoughts and my belief, and I'm like, give me a Scripture to show me where I'm wrong at, he didn't give one. Not a one. And that bothered me about this. I'm used to him always having the text, like when he did the pluck us out of his hand, he sent us to 1 John. Check out 1 John. 1 John will enlighten you, break you down. What album was it he did off? Was it 1 Peter, 2 Peter? We have all things pertaining to godliness. What album was that? I'm sorry, I don't remember the album. But on that album there, he walked through the text explaining why we have all things. God's given us all things that pertains to life and godliness. You see what I'm saying? My point is, where I'm used to him opening the text up, even when he was doing his quote unquote concert style rap or music, like I was saying, I'm still used to him giving us the text. And there was no text in this. This was more so what Martin Luther has said, and we don't need to hear per se what Martin Luther has said on this. Like, you're making claims and attacking a group of people, right? And so we need to hear what the word said. What does God say? And so if we have by chance read the text and misunderstood what the text is saying, then we need you to walk us through the text to show us to correct us. Right? And I guess this is just volume 1. He's gonna do another one, I guess, or whatnot. And so maybe then he'll clear it up. But I'm disappointed in him on that. To be straight with you, be 100 with you on that. Very disappointed. I expected more from him. I'm used to more from him on that, and I don't think that was cool. I think if you're gonna make such a strong stance, such a strong attack, I just feel you need to give us scriptures to back up the claim and back up the attack in which you give us. That's just me on that. But like I said, the album to me sonically was dope. I think he did a great job lyrically. I'm sorry. I'm bothered by that now thinking about it because I think it's so important, man. I think the scriptures are so important. I think we should devote as much time as possible digging in them to seek out truth. And I just feel like he didn't give us that opportunity today on this album here. That's just me though. A few other things I didn't like about the album. Things that he said when dealing with the doctrine of election. And this is just me, right? And it could be universal. And please let's talk about it because I want to know. Gotta get oil change, so I'm gonna talk to the guy. 1 second. Hey, you just want to get an oil change? Yeah. All right. Yeah, and so like the song "Scattered Tulips," right? Like I was so that song bothered me. Not bothered me so much, but it's like I'm listening to it. I'm like, okay, cool. It's only 2 quick verses, and it was basically like I said, like Calvin got it wrong. It's like, okay, well, where'd he get it wrong at? That's it. He just got it wrong. Okay. I mean, can you please? My thought. Can you please expound on how he got it wrong so I don't get it wrong? You know what I'm saying? Nah, he just got it wrong. And I was just like, bro, like, all right, man. Like, 2 verses of it, and none of the verses spoke on what was wrong. You just said he got it wrong and left it at that. I was just like, yo, this is whack, yo. I felt like he just dropped these. I don't know. Overall, I'm gonna get off that because it's whatever. Overall, and I get it, man. I'm sorry. I get what he's saying about. I think it should be a beautiful balance. For me, right? I'm sorry, but for me, when I think about my sanctification, like, so one thing he was saying was pretty much Martha. So Calvinism, in a sense, or John Calvin was more so focused more on sanctification over justification, right? And so basically saying, pretty much making it seem as if we as in, you know, the Calvinist community, we care more about sanctification over justification, and we forget about justification. But he's saying Martin Luther is the opposite, cares more about justification as opposed to sanctification. And I get what he's saying, right? But for me personally, right, I think to me the 2 work as one, where me going through my sanctification reminds me of my justification. Reminds me that I'm justified and that I'm seen as righteous in God's eyes because of Christ. And so what I'm going through, whatever is shaping and molding and pruning me, is just a remembrance of. Is also, excuse me. So sorry. What I'm going through, I'm reminded by who I am and what I am through Christ and the beautiful justification. I don't think. Yeah. Anyways, so I'm sorry. End of the day, lyrically, like I said, dope albums. Like, production was dope, but if you're looking for, if you heard that he's a Lutheran now, and you come to this album looking for, like, okay, here's real quick, sorry. I always go back to this in my thought process whenever someone wants to do a song where they're bashing or attacking or just coming at or just agreeing, for instance, right, with another religion or another thought process, right? They always give scripture. I think about Christ-centric and the Clash of the Titans 1 and 2, right? So if you ever heard the song, dope song, man, please go check this out. Clash of the Titans part 1 and part 2. In that song there, I always forget who the guy is, but Evangel is going back and forth with the guy. Evangel is Calvinist and the other one is Arminian, and he's basically, they're just attacking the 2 camps, right? But in each verse, scripture has been given out on both sides, mind you. But scripture's been giving out. Scripture's been giving out on both sides to say this is why we stand here and why we believe God is viewing life this way. Like a lot of scripture too. Not so much my thoughts or my viewpoint. No. Scripture. And that's where he missed it at. I think he missed it. I mean, that's what I think he missed it at. We didn't get a lot of scripture in this album. We got none. He brought up Romans 9, dealing with the tulip, but he didn't go into detail. You know what I'm saying? And here's normally I would say I don't need a 3-part sermon to break things down, but on this album here, I think we need a 3-part sermon because you are attacking something that many would believe to be biblically true, So you need to give us scripture to show us where biblically we're wrong at. It makes sense to me. Maybe I'm by myself. But anyways, if you're going to this album looking for an answer as to why he's now a Lutheran or why Calvinism is wrong or whatnot, this is the wrong album for you. But if you want an album where you got some dope lyrics and a lyrical style and got some pretty nice banging beats for the summer, it's a dope album for that. That's just the truth. Yeah, so that's my 2 cents on the situation. Like I said, disappointed in that. Expected more from him. And didn't get it. So, yeah, hope I made sense. If not, I apologize. We'll go from there. All right, y'all. Grace.